Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Anchor Leg Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Mang, joined with my co-host.
Josh Hernandez.
And today we have a very special guest. Jenna, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how your swimming career and how you came to where you are?
So I'm Jenna. I'm a junior at Kenyon College. I'm a breaststroker and psychology major. Um, I got to Kenyon, I actually just got an email from like one of my old club coaches. She was like, "Oh, I found this like school. I think it'd be a good fit for you. Like, why don't you drive up and see it?" And I emailed Jess, and things sounded really good. I mean, obviously Kenya has like a really nice program, and I was like, that sounds really promising. Like, I could see a lot of potential here, and a lot of like opportunities for growth. And I visited Kenya, and it was amazing. Um, and the thing I really liked about it too is like I just came from like a small area. Like my hometown is really small. My club team was really tiny. Like I was the oldest by like a handful of years. And so just like seeing that Kenya was like a really close-knit community, I was like, this just kind of feels like home. And so I think that's kind of what got me here and just like how I got into D3.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I guess another thing I'll ask is, was D3 always something you were looking at, or was it something you kind of saw and the kind of opportunities that D3 allows, was that something that kind of was more something you saw after the fact and something that kind of drew you to Kenyon after you went there and visited?
I think I kind of always wanted to look at D3 schools because coming out of high school, I knew I wasn't fast enough to go D1. And I was like, I know if I try to go D1, like, I don't think I'll see the improvement that I want for myself. And so I felt like I could maybe do more at the D3 level and just like be able to continue finding ways to get faster. 'Cause I didn't think I'd be able to do that at D1. Just everything seems so intense. Like growing up and always watching like D1 swimmers, like everything seemed like you have to be like perfect all the time. And like uh being a college swimmer now, like you are not perfect all the time, and that's totally okay. But at the time coming out of high school, I was like, oh, I don't think I could handle the stress of D1. And so D3 just seemed like it would be more suited to my personality and just more suited to my liking. Um, and just like a more comfortable place, a place where I'd just be able to grow the way I wanted. Um, and so I met with Jess and I kind of like expressed that to him, and he was like, I think you could really find that here. And I did, just like being there on my recruit trip, like meeting people and just like having opportunities to just like go around and like see the campus and just like try to envision myself there. Like I really liked what I was envisioning at that time. Um, and it just felt so like natural to be there too. Like I just don't think like I could have made a better decision for myself.
No, that's really good to hear. That's good to hear. I mean, obviously, like college is, it's a little bit of a gamble because at the end of the day, you pick one college and you got to go there. It's just good to hear that people are like very happy with their choices, especially for you. It seemed to work out very, very well. I mean, Kenyon just seems to be a great fit. Uh, we were talking about this a little bit before, but uh, as Division three athletes, obviously we have the off season, right? Which is like the dead period. Um, how have you been? How do you plan on utilizing this current off season, especially since you're going into trials? How are you planning on utilizing it in a way that'll help you prepare for that?
Well, the week after nationals, I took a little bit of a break. I think I did like maybe 1,500 yards in total, just because it's important to let your body recover. Like there's swimming is such a strenuous sport, and it just takes a real toll on your body. And if you don't ever let yourself recover, you're gonna re you're gonna end up burning out. And that's something like I really want to avoid. So trying to take that period of time where I can take care of myself, just relax and decompress off of or coming off of a high intensity meet that's packed with a lot of emotions and a lot of, really hard events. Um, it's important to kind of like come down from that and take a minute to reset and then go again. And so that's kind of how I got started. And then this week I just kind of started building back in some practices, just building up the yardage a little bit. Usually in off seasons we recycle practices, and so like if we had a practice we really liked earlier in the year, we'll pick it back up, do it again. And I think the thing we look for with that is just trying to build off of good habits that we set earlier in the season. just so that we can like keep it going into the next season. And I think that's kind of the important thing in an off season, especially when like you're not really surrounded by coaches who can like kind of give you constant feedback. Uh, it's just important to keep building on those good habits because you don't want to like lose them and then have to start over. And so I think those are two really important things in off season, just like recovering, but then also just continuing building on the good things you've already done.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I personally have been trying to work on these past few weeks since getting back in the water. Um, I feel like most people always say like after you take a week or two off, like once you get back in, it's like the perfect time to start building like those good habits, like fixing any issues with your stroke, anything like that. And those are the things that carry through into your season that really show at the end. I guess speaking of taking a break after NCAAs, let's kind of talk about your thoughts on your results. I mean, obviously winning the 100 breast, going 1-2 in the two breast with your teammate. What were your takeaways?
I think the main thing for me during NCAAs this year, um, I didn't really focus on myself very much. I kind of wasn't really like I don't know if I have like a better word for this, but I like wasn't really interested in my own swimming. I was interested enough, like interested enough is not like a good phrase, but like I was interested in doing well for myself because I wanted to do it for the team, and I knew that we had the ability to win, and I knew that like everybody wanted to win, not because we had like vocalized it, but just because like there was just this like energy on the pool deck and it was really electric and you could just feel it that everybody wanted to win, everybody wanted to do their best. And so like I didn't really focus on like my individual swimming as much as I did just like, okay, I have this event and I'm going to do it for the team and I'm going to like do it the best that I can. And then I didn't have any like I wasn't focused on any individual goals per se. I mean, obviously I had them that I had set earlier in the season, but when it came around to nationals, I was like, everything I do is for something bigger than myself. So I haven't really like reflected on my swims as much just because I like was really filled with a lot of just joy. Oh, it is thundering. Sorry. Um, I was just filled with a lot of joy after the 200 breast especially and after the 100 breast because like I knew like we were in a really good spot, but I knew that we weren't done yet. I knew we still had more to do, more opportunities, and that was just something that really excited me. And just seeing like my teammates and them jump at opportunities, that's also something I really enjoy because like when you see people pushing themselves and just trying to be the best that they can, like it's really inspiring. And like um for instance, my teammate Kaylee had a lifetime best in the 200 back in prelims, and like I knew how badly she wanted that, and just seeing her push her limits like was really like something that helped me get through that last day because that last day of competition is really hard. And so I was like, if Kaylee can do this, like I know that I can do it too, and like seeing her do it like really like helps go through it, I think. And just kind of like when everyone's doing that, it just kind of builds everybody up. And so like I just think that Kaylee was a really good example for that. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I mean, swimming inherently doesn't seem like that much of a team sport. I mean, because everyone's swimming their own races individually, but just the aspect that you got together with your team and you've really made it such a team environment is something we should all aspire to do. Uh, Based on that, like, would you say that that mentality helped contribute to your 200 freestyle on that 800 freestyle relay where you guys got third? I think that really shows your your commitment to your team. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think so. I don't do the 200 free really. Like I've done it a few times in dual meets just for fun because like I I don't know, like oh, I'm tired of doing the 200 breast. Like I need a break this weekend and I want to do a different event or just like something like that where like I just like want to, do something different, just kind of get out of my own head for a little bit. Um so I don't really do the two free, but this year when they asked me to be on the relay, I was like okay. Like I was a little shocked at first, but then I was like, I can do this. Like if the coaches are asking me, like they believe in me. Um, and so I really did just kind of do that for the team. Like I didn't really have an idea of what I was doing, but I was like, I know that I'm gonna do well, not because I'm doing this for myself, but because I have this just rally of people behind me, people supporting me and people that want to see me be successful. And that kind of just like really, I think that really just helps me get places. Like it's often like really hard sometimes. And I'm sure every swimmer experiences like those days where like you are just struggling to like get through that practice or you're struggling to get through your event at that dual meet or whatever. But when you have like 40 or 50 people beside you who are making it clear that they're excited to have you there and that they really do love you, like I think that is just like that's irreplaceable to me. And so I think that really kind of like pushed me through that 200 because I finished the 100 breaths and I was like, okay, I'm not done yet. Like my team still needs me and I'm going to give this everything I've got. And so that was just kind of the mentality I went through that a free relay with.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely this year when you look at your results, the two free was something that I guess you kind of took off in. Is there anything? I know you said you swam it at some dual meets. I think you swam it at our dual meet, right? I feel like I remember seeing you swim it at our dual meet. Anyway, what kind of led you to pick up a new event? Because obviously, as swimmers, we like to stick to what we're good at, and we like sometimes to like to branch out into new events. What kind of gave you, the idea that maybe that was something you wanted to try and do this year?
Well, freestyle was something I had been wanting to work on. Specifically the 100 free. I really just love the 100 free. Like I just think it's really fun. And so I was like, oh, I just kind of want to try my hand at it. Maybe I can like work my way onto the relay. Um, but then I worked my way onto the 8 free instead of the 4 free, which is like fine, Still was excited to have another swim. Um, but we just kind of had an opening for that. Um, One of our swimmers, she got hurt and couldn't swim the 8 free relay. And so that was really sad for a lot of us. A lot of us were really excited to see her swim. And, it's the same concept. Like we wanted that as much for her as we would for anybody else. Um, and so after that, just kind of wanted to also do it for her, and just like trying to live up to what I know she can do and what I know she will do when she has her chance because she's definitely gonna be amazing when she was able to do it again. And so I'm really excited to see that for her. But I don't think like I really like knew I was gonna be on it, but I think the thing with picking up a new event was just that like I really wanted to be a bigger team player and I just wanted to step up in some way. And I think that, was kind of how I chose to do that. Because like my freshman year, I had Kyle Hart and Emmy Myris as two of my seniors, and those two ladies are phenomenal and they really put it all out there for their team. They're swimming like the maximum number of events at NCAA's. They're really stepping into these big roles and just being really big team players. And like as a freshman, seeing that, I was just like, that's the type of teammate I want to be, like somebody who's not afraid to step up and is not going to back down. And like if my team needs me, like I'm going to be there. And so I think that was just kind of like why I decided I wanted to try freestyle. Just because like I knew I wanted to just be that team player, be someone like my teammates could rely on if they needed me. So I think that's kind of what happened.
I get it. I mean, because on our side for our men's team, we only brought two guys to the meet, right? And I think like that team atmosphere definitely just was lacking, right? Because we didn't have any relays, we couldn't do any of this, any of that. We didn't have like that many people together, and it is like I don't want to like I mean I love John, right? But it is a little bit disheartening to like sit there just like with just the two of us, and it's just very different when you have a team atmosphere backed into such a huge meet. And for you to sit here and already be a huge contributor to the Kenyan team and then say I want to do more is just very inspiring to me. I really admire that. Um, but I mean, looking at your times now, right? Like you totally could have like said like last year you said, hey, I want to transfer to Division One. You probably could have. Are there any reasons why you feel like Division Three, like compelling reasons that you felt like you wanted to stay? Like, is there any benefits that you see from Division 3 swimming compared to, what you potentially could have gotten at a Division 1 program?
I think Kenyon just kind of became home. And the thing I really like got out of Kenyon was the support and this family. Like I don't really think of Kenyon swimming as like a team. I think of it as my family. Like I really just enjoy being here and like it just makes my heart full to be around all these like amazing people. And that was like not something I think I had so much in high school. Like I obviously had my friends and family who supported me like undoubtedly, but I was on a really small team. A lot of my teammates were like 12 and I was like 16 or 17. So like, there's a bit of an age gap there and just like from 12 to 17, like there's a lot in between and so it's kind of hard to make as many connections, I think, especially because like often I was like the only one qualifying for big meets. So I like was the only one going and I just like didn't have as many people around me. Um, and so I kind of think that's why I like, didn't even think about like transferring after sophomore year. Like it didn't even cross my mind. I was just like, yeah, like Kenyon is the place for me. Swimming D3, like that was a really great choice and it did provide me with those opportunities like I thought it would. Um, and I just think like it being a bit smaller and just being a little less stressful, maybe. I'm not entirely sure what D1 swimming is like, but it seems like it is a lot. And I just think like that this moves at the pace or D3 swimming and Kenyon swimming just moves at a pace that's appropriate for myself. Like I don't think I would do well at a D1 program that moves at maybe like a faster pace, or maybe they do more yardage, or maybe their like focus is something totally different. Um, because I just think Kenyon is just like for me, it's a very well-rounded program. It gives me everything that I need to, do well in the water and just also provided me with a lot of like personal growth. I mean, I've really like had a lot of like learning opportunities here and ways to just better myself personally. Um, and so I just think like it's a combination of those things that like it didn't even cross my mind. Like after I broke the minute barrier that like, oh, I could go D1, I was like, "Oh, I'm like really happy here." So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something we've heard a lot, Something I remember specifically is when we were talking to Cooper Costello, he was saying like he's like in love with the University of Chicago, like he could never imagine himself going anywhere else. And I think that's something that's super common with a lot of these D3 athletes is they love the lifestyle, they love their teammates, they love the school, and it's like it is elite athletics at this level. And, obviously a lot of the top end D3 swimmers, could go to D1 schools, but I think it's really like the environment and then the opportunities we get at these kinds of institutions that, make D3 swimming what it is. Um, and I just kind of want to circle back to something we briefly touched on earlier, was you mentioned the energy on deck at NCAA's and how that, helped you guys swim faster, everybody's pushing each other. Um, Something I remember distinctly from when Griffin and I um, visited North Carolina to, cover the meet was watching the 1-2 finish from you guys in the two breast. And we were standing right by the Kenyon section. We were like right behind the announcers table. And it was like going nuts up there. I mean, the energy on deck, that rivalry between you guys and Denison, it's like I'm honestly jealous because we don't really have that with any of our UAA schools, but what is that rivalry like, to be a Kenyan athlete? What does it mean to you guys to get the win?
Um, I don't think it was necessarily just like simply like about beating Denison and like, that intense rivalry. Like they're 45 minutes down the road and I think like what this um rivalry I guess means to us is just like it's just a chance to like have fun. Like it's fun to have people that like you look forward to racing. Like it feels intense and it's like just a lot of like energy because often like the Denison Canyon dual meet, for example, like gets really loud and it's just like a lot of fun just to be there. Like they're on one side of the pool and we're on the other and we're just both like cheering so loud and like trying to hype up our own teammates. But then like at the end of the like those swimmers, like, I think we all really value having them as competitors. And I think that's kind of what helps push us, not just like, uh, I don't want to say rivalry in like a negative connotation. It's not like we hate them or anything. Like, I want to make that clear. But I think we just look forward to having them as competitors, people to push us, people who are like on the other team, like it's just fun. It makes it more interesting for us, I feel. And it's also something I look forward to. Just like if to change it up a little bit, like every day, like we have dual meets with a bunch of different teams, but then you get to like conference and nationals and you have so many people in all these different heats and it's just like there's that familiar face from Denison. That's my main competitor. That's the girl I compete with all year long. So it's kind of like the familiarity as well that I think is kind of nice to have. Um, but I don't know. I think it's just really the competitive aspect that a lot of us like really look forward to. It's very, it provides a lot of drive, I think.
It might not be to the same degree, but I mean, we got a rivalry going on with the Carnegie Mellon boys. I mean, I love those guys. They always step it up for our dual meet, and it's just really exciting. That probably might have been the most exciting meet behind like, conference and NCAA, just being able to race the Carnegie Mellon boys at our dual meet. And I get it. Like it's loud, it's hype, and you go to your, we go to conference, we go to mid-season too, and we see them, we go, hey, like back again for more. I mean, it's it's just definitely nice being able to see the same guys and knowing that, they're always going to bring their all and you can compete, which is what we're here for, right?
Yeah. I think it's kind of it's a funny dynamic when you have people that you compete so highly with and you're behind the blocks and you're all like serious and intense and you're like that's the person I've got to take down but then like you finish the race and you're like oh my God like how have you been and it's just like this like really friendly thing and you're just like talking or you'll be in the hallway and have like the most random conversations but like I think those things are kind of fun and I kind of like when they just like happen. Um so I don't know. It's just something I look forward to.
Yeah, likewise. I'll take another step back here and, we'll put the student and student athlete now. Uh, what do you do like outside of the pool? What are your interests? Like, how does like Kenyon shape your experiences, both, personal and like your professional life?
Yeah, so I am a psych major. I'm really interested in like sports psych. And so I think something I've always like been really interested in is just like uh working with athletes and just like hearing about them and like I also at one point like was really considering going into like clinical psych, maybe doing or going into like therapy or being a therapist or something. And so like I kind of think like in that realm. And so I think Kenyon really has provided me with a lot of opportunities to explore that because like I don't know how many times the same professor is going to let me do a project on sports psych topics. They're probably really tired of it, but I find it really enjoyable that they let me like continue to go into the same interests and like they don't um they don't try to like force me to like broaden things. Like if I know what I want to do, like they are really helpful in like letting me like dig into that material and just like expand on what I know in those areas. And so I think that's going to be really helpful, especially like after college, like looking into grad school, like deciding what I want to do and like, figuring out like what the rest of my life is going to be. I'll have already like really dived in or yeah, dove into my interests and just like explored a lot of it already. And so I think that's really going to help me. Um, and I mean, the professors here, like, they're really nice, like, really understanding as well. And I just like really value that. And like, it's kind of fun, like, after class, sometimes, like, you go up and you talk to them, you just like bounce ideas around and like you might walk away with like your next project idea or like a research idea that you want to pursue, which I think is just kind of like fun how those relationships can form. Um, and so I just kind of think that that's something I'll really be able to like walk away with when looking into my professional career, deciding what I want to do. Like I think it'll just make it easier to find something that I love because my dad always told me like if you do what you love, you're never going to work a day in your life. And so I think that's really what I'm like looking for here. Um and they really helped me just like narrow that down. So I'm kind of excited for where that takes me.
All right. So I guess kind of as we wrap this up, are there any final, shout outs or messages to your teammates or any shout outs to your coaches, or anything else you kind of want to bring attention to, talk about yourself a little bit here?
Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my teammates. I mean, they really pushed me in a lot of ways, like in the classroom, in the pool, and also in my social life because I'm really awkward, but that's okay. Um, but I mean, they just helped me grow into the person that I want to be, just trying to be the best version of myself that I can. And that's something that I'll really always be grateful for. Like, I don't think I could have met a better group of people, and I just thank God for them every day. My coaches and my friends, my teammates, like everybody that's involved in my life. Like, I mean, I don't have the words to like express how grateful I am for them and for this program especially. Like, it's just been like a dream. But yeah, I just to everyone really like a big thank you. I don't don't really know.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. I want to ask you this.
Mm.
Seeing his trials coming up, I mean, I'm obsessed, right? I'm trying to make it. I'm really gonna try and make it. But how do you look forward to that transition, from short course to long course? And are there any goals you have at trials?
Um, my goal is to try and semifinal. Top 16 would make me really happy. And then so I mean that's my goal. And then anything that happens after that, I'm just gonna be like, okay, that's cool, like, and just be happy about it. Because like, it took a lot to get to trials and like I just want to enjoy it. I mean, I like it only happens like every 4 years. So like in the next 4 years, like I'm, might not get to swim in it. So I just kind of want to like soak it all in. And if I can semifinal, like, I'd be really happy. But I think that's like my minimum goal. I just like want to be there, take it in and hopefully go a best time in my 100 breast. But this current little transition from yards to meters is tough. Meters is a lot longer after spending 6 months swimming yards. Um, and I'm a little tired from it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, this is no secret by now, but I love long course. No walls, no turns. It's just, God bless. I love it.
Yeah. Well, long
But
course is my favorite. I do like it better. My turns are slow, but there's only one in the 100 breast, so I
right,
don't have
right.
to worry about it as much.
It was a little bit jarring, switching to do that because I was there for the long course time trial, and there were some good swims, like, right, but a lot of the swims are just people like, clearly just in shape for short course, and they do long course, and they're coming home that last 50 on the 200, and you watch them, and you're just like, oh no, what's happening to them? Oh, this does not look good, and that was. I fell victim to that too because I was doing the 200 IM, right? And I'm swimming it and like, the first 100 I feel fine. I hit the wall, I do my breaststroke, I feel fine, and then I, do that turn and it's just an out of body experience on the freestyle. Like I'm not the one swimming it. It's just, oh, it's very difficult. Very, very difficult when you don't have that wall. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I almost did
I'm
the
better without it. I'm better without it.
200. No, I almost did the 2 a.m. at that meet, and then I was like, I'm a little tired. I
Mhm.
think I should just maybe not. So I scratched the meet that day, but I mean, I had fun watching my teammates. I think my teammates had fun. A lot of them were really looking forward to it, so it was just kind of fun to be there. But yeah, long course is something, especially coming right off of yards.
Yeah, because I
Um,
was looking on Meet Mobile for the long quest time trial. I saw your name there, but you didn't swim anything, so I figured you probably entered it and scratched. I totally don't blame you. I totally don't blame you at all. It was very tough. Like the fifth day, especially because you had relays, right? That's horrible.
mhm.
I was watching Crow. Crow Thorson gets a little shout out here. I mean, my man in the 4 IM, but we were watching him and I gotta tag him in this now. But he was doing the 400 IM. He did the first 200, and he was looking really really good. He was like 211 at the 200, and we're like, oh my God, like he's cooking. He might get trials here, and he just completely the breaststroke just didn't look good, and the freestyle coming home didn't look good either. And he got out, and he looked gas, and I was like, oh no, like oh God, thank God I didn't do the 4 IM. But
Yeah, I think some of my
oh,
teammates did the 4 a.m. and I was like, you are strong.
the
You're,
fifth the
you're
fifth day is ludicrous. I I I can't imagine. But I mean, hey, I mean, now we go back to off-season life, so no need to worry
yeah,
about that. That's
yeah.
great. Is there anything else you wanna add on before we wrap this up?
Not that I can really think of off the top of my head. I don't know if there was anything else you guys wanted me to touch on.
All right. Well, I think this will do it. Thanks again, listeners, for tuning into another episode of the Anchor Leg podcast. We'll see you next time.